皆さん、
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Nakamura from Nikkei Inc. Well, this time we have a honor of inviting Mr. Tadashi Yanai, President and CEO of Fast Retailing. Regarding Mr. Yanai, does not need to be any introduction on his part, but functionality and also affordability. Uniqlo brand casual has emerged and is celebrating 35 years of anniversary. Already 2,000 stores, and in not only sales last year, their operating profit had exceeded for overseas rather than Japan. Recently, Italy, Milan, India, the new opening of the store, and Vietnam will be the new opening of the store within this year. So, Mr. Yanai, CEO, through the interview, I have the honor of having a dialogue. And always, I'm very nervous to see Mr. Yanai. And again, I'm very nervous to see very strict, in a way, manager. And Yanai-san said that the world today, in leading the international and global business, what will be the important caveat is going to be talked by Mr. Yanai. So with that, Mr. Yanai, the floor is yours.
はい。
Well, I'm not such a demanding leader and severe leader. What an introduction. Nikkei is more strict than myself. This is Yanai. Very nice to have me at the podium. I just would like to say a few words. This Global Management Forum, it's such a privilege to be invited to be a part of the speakers across the world. Well, everyone is having a very tough times. Very serious conflict are happening across the world. We do not see any given solution or end goal. And perhaps this could be the biggest ever crisis that we have witnessed after the World War II. In the middle of it, individuals and businesses need to be confident and brave enough to tap into the different parts of the world. These are the topics that I wish to share with you, how I look at things. Well, first, let me talk about ourselves. Back in 1949, men's clothing such as suit and neckties, and that's the business that my father founded at the west end of the Honshu in Ube City in Yamaguchi Prefecture. And 22 years later, in 1971, graduating from university, I joined JASCO GMS, and I only stayed less than a year and returned home to succeed my father's business. Ube at that time was a mining town that was a very profitable city, but the coal mining industry started to decline shortly after my return, and the station front stores and the retail street has turned out our street into so-called the shutter street. It's almost like a ghost town. In western part of the United States, only a couple of stores are still operating, but all of the others were closed. So men's clothing, from my perspective, did not have the upside potential. In former coal mining town, I had this sense of crisis. I need to find a better way of doing business and tap into the broader market, because 170,000 was the size of the population. Even if I happened to be successful, I could only hope to be successful only to a limited extent. So in founding days of my career, I had a very strong sense of urgency, which was a part and parcel of creating Fast Retailing and Uniqlo. So this management forum, managing beyond the upheaval, was The subtitle, Turning Challenges into Opportunities, is my take of the message. If you're managing the business, it's everyday life to see challenges. If you remain intact, you will soon could be taken over by the competitors. Therefore, everything is opportunities. Everything is the challenges and opportunities. If you come to terms with challenges head on and try to get over with it, and if you are really serious in doing so, you are able to think out of the box, and a completely new ideas and approach could come into your mind, and that could potentially help you to make a quantum leap. When I first succeeded my father's business, our turnover was less than 100 million yen, but nonetheless, we were able to grow from there because I was able to really come to terms with the reality, what else we could do, and how differently we can work toward the future. So that's the trajectory change. Challenges are the opportunities for all of us. That's my message. Now, moving on, we often talk about globalization, digitalization, and the border between countries and information divide is disappearing. You do not see a big difference between lifestyles. It's a big global market, be it Southeast Asia, Europe, China, United States. Whenever you go, you tend to see the people, how they are dressed on the street. They are quite comparable. A while ago, you tend to see some uniqueness associated with a certain locality, but that's less of the case now. So it's a gigantic global market about to emerge. On the other hand, because of the global market, different countries and the states are willing to introduce regulations and try to interfere and block any individuals and corporate liberal activities. And there is a power struggle and power conflict between countries. Try to prioritize your own interest. My country first because of the conflict of hegemony. So that's exactly is representative of current era. GAFA, that's the platform businesses, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, have become buzzword, and they are often finger pointed as the threat to the world. But I tend to disagree with this kind of criticism because these businesses easily went beyond the framework of national boundary, luring very talented individuals, accumulated gigantic amount of data, started to accumulate the capability that could go beyond the state, nation state. That's an opportunity for any individuals. What these businesses are doing is offering infrastructure. So for general business, leveraging the infrastructure will serve to the best of our interest. And these IT businesses, IT giants provide the infrastructure that our businesses and any kind of businesses need to be appreciative of, and we need to be thankful. Of course, the certain extent of rules and regulations that are viable across the world is needed, but regulation only for the sake of your own country's interest are no longer needed. But rather, having this kind of regulation could hammer the new startup to come up, and it could potentially be very difficult to have business across different boundaries and businesses. Well, this is the time that individuals and different businesses have the opportunity to have their own business environment across the world. Well, for the short term, regulations could stop and hinder this kind of activities, but it's not possible to hinder them for the long period of time. Internet and digital are the capability that every one of us are able to get access to and get access to the insights. I'm sure that will be plus and beneficial for every one of us. Therefore, forcing this kind of activity to be contained is most dangerous and risky area. The hegemony and the conflict that we tend to see at the moment would pave a way for the devastating consequence, and all the business leaders need to be vocal that this is very dangerous. Taking advantage of the regulation that you tend to see in your country and being laid back is wrong. So this is a situation of crisis across the world. Any of the economies go bankrupt or any of the conflict surges, nobody is able to enjoy a good business. So we need to facilitate the liberal business across the world. So what's important here is that individuals and companies need to have this sense of togetherness to better your environment and society community through your own business. We need to extend our network together regardless of the group or the national boundary. We should be partnering together. We should not dependent on the nation state. Individuals and businesses, if they work together to better this world, we should be think of what we should be doing to better this environment and world and engage in the very calm competition and globally try to better the world together. So which nationality, which gender, ethnic group, age group, these are the different boundaries. You have to go beyond boundaries. In what way we are able to better serve the society? In answering this question, you should be driving your business so that you'll be generating more and more fans and followers to your business. If you're simply following the national instruction, this entire world would perish.
One more important thing is through your own business, the society should be put into better terms in terms of paying taxes, doing ultimate business, and getting higher performance and numbers. Of course, in one is a good social contribution, but the quality of what the companies are deemed for are different. In other words, the service that we do offer, the product and merchandise we actually sell, have to truly be a product that is needed in the society. It's really contributing. Is it bettering the world? Are we for the better? That, I think, is the criteria in offering new set of services and product. So that is something that we need to ask ourselves in this current era. So to do so, the social structure, your own way of working, from those perspectives, you need to judge whether this is viable or not. The other is changing clothes, changing conventional wisdom, and change the world. At fast retailing, this is our statement and belief. So this statement is based on this credo. In other words, good product with new set of value, which is affordable to everyone in terms of the price, is something that we will need to offer. And you be able to enjoy and the longevity of wearing that clothes with a sense of fashion. So this is not just earning petty money, but you have to truly have the conviction in order to better the world in selling our clothes. So that is how my motto is in doing my business every day. And the specific product, in putting that into tangible terms, is LifeWear. It's an ultimate quintessential daily wear. It's a clothes that better the livelihood of all people. It is simple, high quality, could be worn every day, but it has been thought through based on the lifestyle needs. And it's all constantly evolving with a sense of rationale and aesthetic. Japan and Asia, of course, but around the world, to the value of clothes and what you wear has made major transformation. It is not for the sake to be affluent materially. That is the past. That the value that people are trying to seek in clothes is to be ornamental, to be fashion, but rather in order to wear those clothes with high quality in order to better your lifestyle. So that is the change that we have seen. So you'll be able to make the selection, you'll be able to make your own choice and wear them together. So that is the world that we are in. So in the past, of course, conventional wisdom is a massive consumption and utilizing massive resources. And there was a set of uncertainty that was intangible in the minds of people. Of course, in apparel, there are disposal clothes. And there is a problem that we have all come to be aware of. We are wanting a high quality, high functional, simple clothes. And that is truly is in need in our daily livelihood. It's got to be worn in our daily livelihood. Today, I rarely had the opportunity to wear a suit, even big bags. In Japan, they're now wearing a much more casual clothes in those incumbent institution. Unless we have this mindset, society will not evolve, then company will not evolve. What's most important in the society today is long, sustainable growth. That I think is most important. To be sustainable equal our business. So that is an equation that we will need to implement. Well, LifeWear is based on this very concept. And there are two new things that we are starting and already engaging ourselves on. Our partner, Toray, working with Toray, we are recollecting down jackets or downwear. So recycling down feathers. We are creating better product than the original down jacket. So creating new recycled down. And also the other is pet bottles. And we're going to collect the PET pet bottles. And we're going to, we have a product called Dry EX. A tennis athlete and golf athlete can wear them. It's high grade, high quality. Still yet a wonderful, course product in a wonderful way of sewing, and also material procurement will be done by PET bottles. So all the company around the world, individuals, we are going to work together in offering reasonable but yet high quality and high functionality. And as part of that effort, in September, in London, UK, the Art and Science of LifeWear 2019 has been the event that we were able to launch in London. About 20 years ago, we had opened a very first overseas store, and the event was offered at the Somerset House. It was a house built in 18th century. It is a government designated historical building, and it is really is a hub for some of the cultural activities undertaken in London. And this time it's art and science. This is the title of the event. So in terms of the aesthetics that was embedded in LifeWear, meaning art and innovative technology and advanced idea, which is the area of science, are going to be need to be well understood. So that is the reason why we offered this event called Art and Science of LifeWear 2019. As I've said, to be sustainable is the most important aspect in the concept of LifeWear, meaning that to all the customers around the world, we believe that we were able to be looked upon with a lot of interest from many of the people all around the world. In September, the first store in Italy had opened in Milan. It is a symbolic building near the cathedral, Great Cathedral Plaza. It's facing that plaza, and before the opening, through a few hundred meters, maybe around 1,200 people have queued and lined before the opening. And it's not a big discount. That is not the basis of our business. All the product is sold at the proper price. And again, it had attracted a lot of interest. Well, Milan is the home of design and art. And we have been able to be very well received in the home ground of art and design is something that was truly epoch making for us and led us to a great confidence. So Japan tradition and Italian sense of beauty and aesthetics, those two elements have been converged together in this store as you see in Milan. In Asia this April, in Delhi, in India, the first store in India has opened. Well, India has the population 1.3 billion, and 27 years is an average age bracket for the population on the day of the opening. Many people the customer have kindly come to a store, and following the first store, we're going to open the second store and the third store from the end of this year to early part of next year. So one other thing that we need to do in India is made in India. We need to start production in India and a full-fledged production. So this is something that each of the countries are inviting us and asking us to make ourselves present, meaning that the LifeWear concept has been well received and well penetrated throughout the world. Last but not least, in the past overseas business, we failed many times. We had a lot of hardships and difficulties, and I myself have said and have attained some learnings, and that is three questions. There are three questions. One is, if you go abroad, the people to the local people, who are you? So what are you so different with the other companies? So in this country, what kind of good are you going to do for us? So what you have done around the world, or are you doing? So these are the three questions. So who are you, and what is so different about us, and what we are going to do in this country. What are you going to give to this country? So far, around the world, what kind of good deed have you conducted? Well, the question, to put it like this, it's a common sense. But if you're doing to do exactly the same as the others, and if it's not contributing to that local state, we should not open our stores. And to that country, we need to contribute to the country. It's not just making money. If it's making money, we're not going to be welcomed by the local community. So around the world, what kind of good have you done? So unless you are not doing so in the past, if you say, I will do it starting from today, that will not buy in the confidence and will not be convincing enough. So this is what I tell to our employees every day, and we need to put that into practice.
Well, looking at the world at the moment, consumption economy is stagnant and individual income is not growing significantly, and people tend to have distrust to social security, and there's a growing uncertainty toward the current situation as well as to the future. Particularly in Japan, that concern is particularly profound. Well, forceful division of the market is taking place across the world. But we need to act in a calm, rational fashion. We need to ask ourselves as business leaders that whether or not our business is bettering the world, we have to come to terms with this reality. Particularly Japan, we could be at the stake and make a very bold moves toward the future. Well, the other day in United Nations, the Swedish 16-year-old girl made an announcement. There are pros and cons of the opinions associated with her statement, but from my perspective, making a statement is a awakening call. And that's very important for any of us to make a clear statement, candidly. business leaders and individuals across the world need to take bold steps ahead. Otherwise, we are not able to better the world. We are not able to improve the planet that we live in. Our fundamental philosophy is truth, virtue, and beauty. My own interpretation is that true means you should be right, never cheat others. The true virtue, goodness, is whether you are contributing to the society, whether or not you are offering the valuable clothing to the market. Beauty means you have to stay true to the sensibility of human being, whether you remain true to the beautiful finished product, whether or not you have challenged yourself enough to deliver perfected product. At the end of the day, these are universal value, and you need to have the right mindset, and together with your associates try to drive the business, and that's what's required of us. Therefore, independent-minded individuals and individuals with a sense of purpose need to work together to encourage economy to go smoothly. These challenges are the opportunities. The prime example of my statement is that we have more than 40 footprints in Russia at the moment. As a matter of fact, this is an enormous opportunity for us. And I'll tell you why we tend to see it opportunities. Because from Russia, a lot of European businesses started to exit the Russian market. And then this is an opportunity for us to offer great value clothing to Russian people. I'm sure we are able to make Russian people and customers happy and make their everyday life a better one. Even in a very difficult, challenging environment, there could be some conflict, but we need to remain very indifferent from any political ideas. We need to work toward the people in the market and turning challenges into opportunities to make the prosperous business, to make this world a better place. That kind of opportunity is there, and we need to make a commitment to continuously do so. And that is my statement today in front of all of these people in front of me. With this, I'd like to close my remark. I'd like to encourage all of you to tap into the different parts of the world. The world is waiting for the Japanese businesses to come to them, and that's it. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yanai. The sense of urgency, sense of crisis was pretty profound. I know the time is limited. Several questions when it comes to global management regarding fast retailing. What are some of the missing pieces of the puzzle from your perspective? Well, non-Japanese and the female leadership, we need to be increasing the number of these leaders and promoting locally hired people and encourage them to go up and climb the ladder of the organization. If we are able to nurture the people who are good at managing the business, we are able to grow significantly. Do you think it will take time? Well, we have to get this done in a short period of time. What are some of the barriers you tend to see? Well, and again, language could be one of the barriers, cultural barriers, everyday life. So we need to understand each other's culture, Japanese language, Japanese common practices. We need to understand these cultures as well as different standards of cultures and practices. We need to understand each other. You need to understand both of the locality and globality, and you need to really embrace this idea of global is local, local is global. You need both of the forces.
Well, I'm asking quite specific questions. But over 20 countries, you have been able to expand your footprint. But business-wide, The region that went well business-wise, and some of the area that how you had to struggle. What are the differences? Well, I think the difference of the leaders, I think. Well, maybe the conditions that are given are maybe different. But if you're a good leader of the company will grow eventually and inevitably. But the number of populations and the purchasing power, of course, there are some differences. But maybe if you're going to try to establish a company of 100 billion or so, I think you will be able to succeed anywhere, I would say. So managers, the manager mean the local manager, the local management team, and also the management quality of the global headquarters. So it's hard to nurture these talents or cannot be nurtured. What are the different difficulties? I think we're in the process of nurturing these talents, the managers and leaders. It's not studying, but it's a practical, hands-on experience. Going to the local market and having a hands-on experience as a global headquarters, you have to be involved in management. It's have to be an on-the-job training for the leaders and management to really learn how to manage the company. I see. You're still in the process of them. And the second question is in Sweden. You talked about a girl that made a statement in the United Nations regarding climate change. Well, I think in capitalism have grown over the years. But with the sustainabilities, we have to reduce. That's one effort. Like creating one genes, the water usage, you have to reduce the usage of water. I know you're doing a lot of things, but it's a mind changer. How are you going to have your employees become aware of these mind-changing situations? Well, in the Olympic team in Sweden, we offered a official clothes, and what we're told is that we need to abide by sustainability. Please come up with the official clothing with this aligned with sustainability before coming up with a specific request for the design. In operating the company, it's an absolute requirement. It's a prerequisite. So in terms of the requirement of the society and community, we need to respond to that. And our clothes need to respond to these inquiries. So it's it's a prerequisite, it's necessary. We're not saying that we should just not expand. We should avoid doing something that is going to add load and weight to the environment. So the genes, in terms of water utilization and waste, utilizing, recycling, using, like PET bottles, like such. Again, we're going to use them. We're going to use them as a fabric and spun them once again.
Last thing at the least, going forward, the power and force of individuals and the businesses will be increasing. But what could be the role of the nation state? Well, in the case of Japan, we should not contain ourselves. We will hope the Japanese government will support these businesses who are tapping into the different parts of the world, because these businesses from Japan need to be brave enough to tap into the different parts of the world and stimulate the economy. And overseas people, not just being tourists, we need to create an environment that more and more people will be coming to work with us. Not necessarily the simple labor. Sophisticated workers need to be hired, and in some of the businesses, and the Japanese government need to help facilitate a framework in which more businesses could hire these individual talents from the sophisticated qualities. Well, I know that it was a stimulating discussion. Thank you very much. We'd like to close this section. Thank you, Mr. Yanai and Mr. Nakamura. Thank you.
So we'd like to offer a break. The next session is going to start from 45 past 1. So starting from 45 past the hour. So please kindly return to your seat by then. Thank you very much.